chemical industry and industry, life in general, we are in what can be called many times in the colloquial language, OMG situation. Oh my God, where are we? So I think we are in OMG situation. And later on, a colleague of mine who is known to me, he will tell us another version of that called AMG. But let it be for him to share that. I'll try and address some of the dimensions that are going to be covered during the day and whatever my thoughts. The key challenges that all of us have are, and which are also part of the drivers of the chemical industry. One is, of course, the business environment. We are living in a VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, chaotic, ambiguous, etc., etc. And there are different versions of that now also coming out. Of course, COVID has been a big toll taker. The current European situation, whether you call it war or whatever, I would say a disaster which has been in the making, which is much higher and which now fortunately is being recognized, but it's only being talked about as a problem, is the climate change, which is a major threat, not being taken seriously. And if Mr. Bimal Gokuldas referred to COP, just advanced countries giving money to developing countries, is it going to solve the climate change problem? I don't think so. It's going to be much more than money. It's more the behavioral change, the lifestyle changes that we need. And there are two dimensions to that. Pull out the carbon dioxide that we have sent it into the atmosphere, pull out as fast and as large as possible, and stop sending any more as CO2 by following good practices, including in the energy generation. On the pulling out of CO2, my group is very actively involved. I'll share a little later. Or rather, maybe I can just mention that. What we need is photosynthesis in a big way, and the land area is not going to increase, but the oceans have been unexplored, and seaweeds, which are really sea vegetables, can be grown in the sea. No land required, no water required, no fertilizer required, no pesticide required. So our group, and we are a group of 3 companies who have got together, and we are doing that. So seaweeds, and incidentally, seaweeds can be tomorrow's renewable resource of a very, very big magnitude for all of us in the chemical industry also, besides pulling out the CO2. It can become tomorrow's crude oil. Coming to the role of corporates that in the sustainability, I've come across, I'm sure some of you have come across, there's a beautiful book by one Professor C.B. Bhattacharya, who is teaching at Pittsburgh University in US. The book is very beautiful. The title is Small Actions, Big Difference. But particularly he is emphasizing that for achieving sustainability, we can talk about governments doing this and NGOs doing this and that, but we, the corporates, can have a big role to play in that because we have a captive audience with whom we can interact on a regular basis. So the book is very interesting. I again have a summary. I'll be happy to share it with the Secretariat and you can get a copy of that. Very nice book. But essentially it is about lifestyle changes, looking at small things which may look small but have a big impact. One dimension which I'm sure will appeal to all our CFOs and all of us as management is that whenever you become sustainable, you also save costs. So there is a direct bearing on your bottom line. So don't do it for something else, do it for at least that sake. Coming to ESG, Mr. Ravi Kapoor also referred to that. When I got a first presentation on ESG from CRISIL, first I was happy. But in the evening, the thought started in my mind that they are only talking about making the producer responsible. What about consumption? What about the consumer? What about the people, the banks who are willing to lend you money? If you don't have money in your bank account, don't worry, I'll give you EMI, but please spend. Now for spending, you must produce, and for producing, you must spend on resources. Is all the things that we are really buying or using really required? I think we need to rethink ESG, which is only half the story, only one side of the coin. The other side also needs to be brought in. And in a joking way, I can say that it has become now a good marketing tool for some of the people who are the certifying agencies, that I'll give you certify and you pay me my fee. So I'll earn whatever happens to the sustainability in the world. Coming to decarbonizing the chemical sector, and the subject that is mentioned is reflections to actions. Very interesting. This is where I said what we need to do is from OMG to AMG. Avoid if you can, minimize if you can, and whatever you can generate in a sustainable manner is the way to go. Any of us going to any shop, any market, any mall, we would see the amount of lighting and AC that is going on. Do we really need all that? So I think the minimizing part, the avoiding part is that one. And I would say, I would like to believe that 30 to 40% of the CO2 that we are generating is completely avoidable by having a simpler lifestyle, and it can do the job. Effluent reduction in the chemical and recovery of chemicals. I think I've taken caustic chlorine as an example. Many of us are chlorine users. The caustic chlorine industry uses salt, which is produced, and if you look at the whole value chain, and finally what do we do? And at the end, half the chlorine is just becoming hydrochloric acid byproduct, for which there is no market. I think we need to look at that value chain. And Baroka Sahab, I think this is something I would like to share later on with you. I think there's a need to look at the whole industry in a big way, in a different way. Coming to feedstock from biomass, I already mentioned the seaweeds. Sugar beet can be another example. Sugar cane, from which we are extracting the ethanol, is a very water-consuming crop. A lot of fertilizers, a lot of area, a lot of time. Is very easy substitution by sugar beet, which is a much shorter crop, requiring much less water energy. And you can also get the agri-briquettes out of that, which can be used in substitute of coal. Water and energy efficiency is one of the points. I would like to cite the example of our Bhavnagar factory of Excel, which now is no more with us. That's probably a good early example of how one can be sustainable at the manufacturing level. The factory runs completely on wind power, no energy which is fossil based, and the water that we get is the city sewage. We use that city sewage for our water needs. Coming to efficient chemical processes, again from my company, an excellent example of a product which was made with very high pressure, very high energy requirement. We brought it down to atmospheric pressure. ICC was good enough to give us an award for that, for butanediol, which was made it atmospheric process. Partly ESG, I might take just 2 minutes more. Partly the talk about ESG when we talk, or only I think what was referred earlier, that the GDP is one measure which has been used. But I think today's world, you cannot only talk GDP, can't only talk money, we have to talk about also the environment. So I've coined a new word, economist, ecologist, so econologist. Maybe we need econologists now. In terms of the digitalization, including digital transportation, I think the whole world is going more and more digital, but it needs critical minerals, critical metals. Where are they? I think, again, that's India's big opportunity. We have a lot of mineral wealth, and software technologies like hydrometallurgy can be used. Again, my company is quite involved in that. We'll be happy to share the thoughts with people. We are also working on the lithium-ion battery recycle. Green chemistry was talked about. Yes, I think we need to go from only chemical to biochemical green chemistry. Also, a dimension of that, I think what is currently Europe's problem, that no gas is available. From that no gas being available, what is gas? It is methane, or methane, butane, propane. What is bio-CNG? It's methane, which we can produce in India. We are producing in a big way. Similarly, one can generate syngas out of the waste, various waste. Technology is available in India, and we need to look at that. So I'm at the end of my talk, and I would say leveraging cleaner energy solutions. I have a friend sitting in the audience, and I think he will be getting a slot later, somebody who runs the Energy Swaraj Foundation, where a lot can be done. So Mr. Dr. Chetan Solanki, if you can just get up for a minute, everybody can see you, and he'll be sharing his thoughts later. So thank you all for your attention.